All right, everybody. Now, don't try this at home because it can be dangerous without proper training. A young man brought me this German knife to be worked on. I don't know where he got the sheath at, but it was a good one at one time, I'd say. It's been sewed, got some rope in it, knife sticks out the bottom, but no, it was a good sheath at one time. Got some designs on it. So let's look at the knife. Now, looking at this thing, I can tell already it's good steel. The wording on it is sheriff's knife. Sheriff knife. And then it has a maker's mark right there with 3 arrows. That I know to be a German maker's mark. On the back is another mark and a serial number. So this one's legit. So the metal is really good. I can tell already it was poured, or factory built if you want to say. The hand guard worn away. That's aluminum and rubber. Now, being aluminum, it's going to wear. And being that thin, it's really going to wear as a hand guard. So it looks like somebody ground it off and made it where it looked decent. So what we're going to do, and what I've been asked to do, is to put a hand guard on it, clean it up, and make a sheath if I could. So let's start it out. Now, right off the bat, when I go to take it off, I find I got a piece of wood down inside the handle. So we're going to clean that out a little bit. And there at the top, where the threads are located on that brass, they're braided a little bit. So now I've lost a lot of video on this, and what y'all don't see is when I go in there and I take off a piece of that metal with a pick so I can get it to turn this screw out, or this locking nut as you want. Now this wrench, I built it some time back to work on a buddy of mine's knife that his father had given, kind of like this one, and they were both German. And it is a booger to get out. It don't want to turn loose. It don't want to do what it's supposed to do. But I'm gonna keep on it till I get it. And I really wish I had the footage on all of this. I lost some of it. But I put oil in there, penetrating oil, a little couple of drops, and let it set about 10 minutes. And then I started working with it again. And slowly but surely it started coming loose. The idea is to get it off without tearing up the threads. And if you look at how that piece moves back and forth, and I got my hand on it pulling it tight. Now boys, I need you to look at that, and I'm talking to my grandsons. See how I pushed up on it and then turn it, let it ride with the nut. That keeps you from pinching your hand and tearing that nut up, because you can screw off the top of it. The aluminum helps hold it in place, and your hand helps hold it up. I'll try to explain that principle later. Now, I can twist this thing a little bit sideways on every one of them. So it tells me some of the stuff's worn out and some of it's not. It's on there good and tight. But I can tell somebody's been in there before, because the top don't match the bottom. So we're going to keep it in line so I can put it back where it looks halfway decent. I'm going to insert this tie wire from a chain link fence inside these fences, and it'll give me a general idea where they're at. As far as a perfect fit, no, it's not going to be a perfect fit. And the rust on this thing is making it extremely difficult to slide. Now the rubber would slide on rust, but that aluminum don't like it. There's a few of those pieces that are not twisted inside, and if you look at them when I'm taking them off, you will see that they wore on the inside. And I'm taking them off a few at a time where I can get it off. Yep. Put them on that tire wire, boy, don't mess them up. So down there's some rust and some buildup. It's got in there. And I got to work it loose to get it off. The bottom ones were kind of tight. So get them off, keep working it. Now I don't need to keep that bottom one. And I'm going to end up losing one of these rubber pieces down at the bottom because the piece of aluminum I use for a handguard is thicker and stronger. It's a piece of aircraft aluminum. Now, you can't see it, but right there on that side just then, there's a little mark in there that's stamped in it, and you barely see it. And I had to put it on the wire brush to find it, but it's on there. And that tells me it's a stamp mark of the production system that they had, or the plant marking, if you like. We're going to use this wire brush, take a lot of this patina off so I can check it closer up. Now I like to safety check all the knives and look at them closely. Make sure there ain't no cracks or anything like that in them. Because if there's a crack, I'm going to notify you of it, and I'm not going to go no farther unless you tell me I can. They are rules. Now you got to make sure you hold this thing right on that brush. If you notice, I've got it under the turn or the circle of the wire brush. And anytime I go above that, I got a really good hold of it. Now I'm spinning them threads clean. Now I just take off all that rust, and I'll put a very light coat of oil under there, which I lost the footage for. Well, she's coming pretty clean with this. It's going to take a little sanding to do it. Now I take up this handy dandy knife holder here for working on handles, and I've discovered I can clamp it down and do a little sanding with it also before I'm working on a handle. Yeah, I know, it's dangerous, but if you follow certain rules, you'll be okay. Clamp it down. Now the clamp that's under there holding this up, that orange clamp, that's a magnetic stand, and there's a clamp that just holds it on. If I trip and fall on that sucker, it will break loose. Now I'm going to get hurt, but it's going to break loose. Hopefully it won't do any real damage. So the idea is to stay as safe as I possibly can. If anything goes wrong, any really hard pressure on that blade, the whole mechanism is set and fixed so it will break loose and drop to the floor. So we're now running this with sandpaper here. And I sped the whole thing up a little bit so I wouldn't bore you to death. Sandpaper's working on it. Alright, there's that piece of aluminum I was telling you about. Now I'm going to leave that patina that it has on there on the very bottom of the knife where it slides into the sheath, and on the top of it I'm going to take the patina off and make it look sandblasted, or what some call a grit finish. Now that little space there will go away when you push it up. So here we go. Well, this is what it looked like after I got through putting the handle on it and getting that and all sanded up. Still got some scratches. Cleaned it up. Got it good and tight. She's not perfect, but that's a nice knife. I like that. So we got a little leather work we got to do. And I really wish I had all the video on that, because that was a main component that got thrown away. So here I'm taking the edging off of it, getting ready to color it and slick it. Now I put what they call a hunter's finish on the slick. I learned it from an old fella named what was his name, Jansen? Anyway, he was teaching a class on it. He said if you put a real high finish on it and you put all these chemicals on it, the animal could smell it. I thought, well, that's kind of crazy. But I ain't going to argue about it. So we have a pop rivet down in the bottom. You're seeing I showed it. That's for the knife point to make sure it don't go through. And we tried to do the blood vein on it with the dyeing, and it just didn't stay tucked. It was on it, but then once I put the oil on it, it went away. Got to try harder next time. Alright, now looking at it, I got the belt grip to the front more than to the middle. And there's a reason for that. I want the weight of the knife to slightly shing away from your hand as you're walking. Now we got a little oil spot right there, didn't dry. Put a little finger work to it and she'll disappear in a little bit. Now here is where we slick. Now I'm going to take a piece of metal and I'm going to rub it on it kind of hard and kind of quick. Kind of what they call metal slick. And it's going to show me where my low spots are. Now I already know where they are, but I want you to see how to do it, boys. When I move that metal back and forth like that, anything, now look, it come out. There's the low spots. Now on a hunter's finish, that's not going to matter a whole lot. But if I was putting a glass finish on it, that would matter. I'd have to sand it down till the whole thing is smooth. So we're going to take a slate, and we're going to take some water, and we're going to put a hunter's finish on it, and the animal shouldn't smell it. So, we're going to take a cup, put some water in it. Don't need a whole lot, just enough to get my finger in there to put it on the leather. So we're sitting here, putting some water to it, wet it down real good, lay that moisture to it. Now see right there where my finger was? If you look, the coloration changes. You see that white line? That white line is a dip. Now I have some standards, quality standards that I go by. I reckon I worked at the plant too long. But I'm going to take this slicker now and I'm going to slick it back and forth and get it slick. And then I'm going to find the spots with my finger. And if it's bad, I'm going to go ahead and sand them down to it smooth. And then I'm going to slick it again. You can do about 5 or 6 slicks on this thing. Now, I like taking the edges and cleaning them up. I've had people tell me they don't like that. They just kind of like it won't square it off. Well, I like it. And since I'm making it, you ain't giving me no instructions. Now, I ain't just talking about this fella here now. I'm talking about others. I'm gonna do it my way. So the idea is to slick these edges and then come back down on that front side and keep doing it till it's slick. Remember, hunter's edge is hunter's slick. Let's call it that. A hunter's slicking is different. It's not high gloss. It's clean, it's smooth, it's sealed, but it's not high gloss. And we don't use chemicals on it other than the dye, natural dyes. I don't want the deer smelling it. And this guy's a deer hunter. So, we're going to slick it down till it looks good. Well, my work ain't perfect, but I try to get it as close to being a good job as I can possibly get it. You get one of mine, it is handmade, folks. The only machine that I use on any of this is a sander. And every now and then I may take a Dremel and drill the holes if it calls for a thread that's bigger than the punch I got. I ain't gonna sit there and argue with it all day. I heard Jay Nelson one time say, no need to kill yourself. And then we got, careful boy, getting the hab in there. We're going to have to make the sling to go on it because this is a gunslinger, as I call them. Now I've applied some oil inside and all to help hold the, and I dyed it also. I dyed the inside. A lot of people don't, but I take it all the way down, dye the whole thing for protecting the leather, and I apply oil to them. Now I use mineral oil. I'll put some dye in it, mix it up good, and then I will apply it and let it fully dry. And here she is. I sure wanted that blood vein to come out, but it didn't.